Hey guys, yeah, I wanted to come on here and kind of contribute my memories and thoughts on this 15th anniversary of the passing of Latino Heat himself, Eddie Guerrero. And to say that Eddie was, a star that really left his mark in the sports entertainment wrestling business, it would be an understatement. I mean, um, let's be honest. There's not going to be another like Eddie, um, for a long time. There's never going to be one like Eddie for a long time. And what I do appreciate, even though it can never be replicated as the original when it was done by Eddie, what I do appreciate by some of the superstars nowadays, from Ricochet to Sasha Banks to in AEW, MJF, you have them paying tribute to Eddie by basically taking a page out of his playbook when it comes to a foreign object or like a steel chair or a bat or whatever, and then basically clanging it onto the mat or hitting it on the mat, and tossing it um, to their opponent, and just in time for the referee to catch him. So I do appreciate the fact that you got superstars nowadays, wrestlers nowadays, men and women that pay tribute and honor to Eddie by doing that on occasions during the matches. And in fact, like I said, the three people I mentioned pulled it off recently in the past several months. MJF at Full Gear, Ricochet weeks ago, I should say, several weeks ago in his match against Cedric Alexander, and I think Sasha did the same thing in a matchup with Bayley. So really, it was just really great to see it, and I love how the announcers acknowledge it. That they know what they're doing to get themselves over, to get the win in any particular means. So I really, like a lot of fans, I really appreciate what these superstars, these men and women, do to pay tribute and honor to the legacy of Eddie Guerrero by basically taking a page out of his playbook of lie, cheat, and steal. Now, like a lot of people, I first knew about Eddie when he was in WCW. I think I've heard about him just once when WCW was co-promoting the AAA ICW Worlds Collide pay-per-view, and that was the only other time that I knew about Eddie. But mostly, I knew about him, when he came to WCW. I knew about him. That was my first exposure to Eddie Guerrero, was World Championship Wrestling, and right off the bat, you could tell that they wanted to push Eddie, into that upper mid card echelon, lower main event echelon, if you will. But unfortunately, due to a lot of situations behind the scenes, as we all know, that never came to be. But I like the fact that it was in WCW that Eddie crafted his character, crafted the lie, cheat, and steal character. Many people don't know this, but when Eddie, during his final years in World Championship Wrestling, had come up with the moniker Cheat to Win. So basically, you had the groundwork set in World Championship Wrestling for the lie, cheat, and steal. So that is something that, if you don't know exactly where it originated from, for Guerrero, it originated in WCW. Now again, like I said, like a lot of people, that's the first time we knew about Eddie. And it wasn't his first cup of tea in WCW. He actually had a bit of a brief stint about a couple of years before, I think in 92, 91, 90. No, actually it was around 89, 90. He had a brief stint, there. Mostly as enhancement talent. But when he was brought back in the mid-90s, 95, 96, that's when he really just took off and became a household name. And, it didn't matter whether he was a babyface or he was a heel. People liked him. People loved him. Yeah, they knew that as a heel they had to boo him, but his antics at times would get people behind him, and he would be the kind of heel that you would hate to love and love to hate, if you know what I mean. And he was actually instrumental in several factions later on in his career with WCW as well. I mean, he formed the Latino World Order, basically figuring in story that, hey, if I get all the Latino wrestlers together along with me, we'll get just as much opportunity as the NWO was getting. Basically the stars that are part of NWO. And then after that, he became part of the Filthy. He was one of the original members of the Filthy Animals when they first formed. So he was, like I say, very instrumental in some groups in his later tenure with WCW. Now, of course, he really made a name for himself along with the likes of Saturn, Malenko, and Benoit, when almost a week after Benoit had won the WCW World title, they suddenly showed up on Raw as the Radicals. So, he made a big splash, if you will, right off the bat about a week after they were let go, apparently. And, as they say, the rest is pretty much history. I mean, he was able to develop his Latino Heat character. He went from a heel to a babyface because of his alignment in an on-screen relationship with China, which in the long run turned him back into a heel because he was just later on using China and really living up to being Latino Heat, if you will, by going around with other women. And then this led to a feud between the two. So yeah, his first stint in tenure with WWF, if you will, was very memorable because he, like I said, he got to craft the Latino Heat character and become a lot more charismatic, if you will, a lot more charismatic than what he was in WCW. Even though in WCW we saw that tipping point, if you will, the origins of this charismatic side of his coming out. It was never reached to its full potential until he went to WWF. Now, of course, we all know that due to his substance abuse and all that with drugs and everything, he was let go around late spring 2001, a little after WrestleMania. So he was let go, and what he did afterwards for about almost a year was toil on the independents. He went and competed in various promotions, if you will. Like, he was part of the first Ring of Honor show, and he competed for them for like a couple of shows during the first few months before he went back to WWE. He did the same with World Wrestling All Stars, WWA, the Retribution pay-per-view. Revolution pay-per-view. The Revolution pay-per-view in Las Vegas, where he won the WWA Cruiserweight title. And then about a week later, or a month later, he was back in WWE. So he basically toiled all over the independents, helping out these smaller promotions, as well as getting himself sober and clean, kind of getting rehabilitated, if you will, coming to the Lord as well. And it was in the spring, almost about a year later after he was let go, that he came back to the WWF. And again, the rest is history, because this is where not only did he still embrace his Latino Heat character, but now he was embracing and really bringing to the forefront his cheat to win persona that he had originated in World Championship Wrestling, but now he was going under the moniker of Lie, Cheat, and Steal. And once again, he was allowed to be more charismatic and more outgoing than he was allowed in WCW, and he brought Chavo along with him to share in this experience in this new era that he and the Guerrero family were going through. And basically, along with Chavo, they became Los Guerreros. They became two-time tag team champions. Then, of course, they broke up. Chavo was the heel, Eddie the babyface. They had a match at Royal Rumble where Eddie showed a more aggressive side as a babyface by beating Chavo. And then, of course, we get to the moment that everybody remembers about Eddie Guerrero that really pushed him as a babyface, and that was the fact that he was given the ball and allowed to run with it when it came to the WWE Championship and beating Brock Lesnar at No Way Out in the Cow Palace on the outskirts of San Francisco, mostly Daly City. And I remember this because honestly, they played into everything on how, basically this would be the ultimate underdog and comeback story for Eddie, which was true, if you will, because he was going up against a much larger, stronger opponent in Brock Lesnar. But, being able to have the opportunity to become WWE champion, at the same time would basically bring things full circle for him because he's, basically showing that he's made a full recovery from his issues and now he's ready to move on to the next stage in his life. And this here is the opportunity, and this opportunity to become champion is like saying, hey, you're being rewarded. This is what you've earned. This is your opportunity to be the best, to be exactly what you are. And what really got him over is how he would win his matches going into it and afterwards. That's basically lie, cheat, and steal. And WWE got so behind Eddie Guerrero and looking at the fact that this was a great storytelling vehicle for Eddie, especially in this, especially with this opportunity given to him at No Way Out, that they decided to broadcast a little bit of what we got on the DVD, and that is the lie, cheat, and steal Eddie Guerrero story on UPN, which I did record onto a DVD plus recordable disc. It's somewhere around here on one of the variety discs that I have. But I remember watching that on UPN and enjoying it, and they did a great, even though it was less time, even though it was edited down time of this, it still did its job. It still did its job to, tell the story of how far Eddie had come, from where he was to where he's going to be. And I really liked that. And when they announced that they were bringing it out on DVD, full length, including other parts that you didn't see, along with some bonus content, including matches that spanned his career in AAA, ECW, WCW, and WWE, I knew I had to get it. And I'll be honest with you, when I got it, there was word going around that this was selling out very quickly, not just with wrestling fans in general, but with the Latino audience as well. Because I'm half Latino, I'm half Mexican. So to know that WWE was giving a Latino that represented part of my culture a chance to be the top guy, how can you not support that? And especially the way at that time they were promoting, how his opportunity and how far he'd come to get this opportunity. So yeah, I was really happy when, because unfortunately I didn't get a chance to watch it live because at that time the cable company that I had, Sunflower Cablevision, had decided that if your living quarters wasn't updated to the latest cable technology, you couldn't have pay-per-view anymore. Yeah, you could have cable and premium channels and all that, but you couldn't order pay-per-view. So unfortunately, I had to wait to hear about it on Monday Night Raw and on SmackDown, and I was just really happy. And for them to give Eddie a run that with the championship that ran through WrestleMania and up until about midsummer, people may not like the fact that he didn't get a longer run, but you know what? To have an opportunity to go that far for at least, 4 or 5 months, that is huge. That is a huge deal for anybody of Eddie Guerrero's stature, in wrestling at that time. So, yeah, I was just glad he became champion. And again, the way he kept retaining the title, was through the lie, cheat, and steal deal. So I really enjoyed that as well, as well as everybody else did. Now, of course, I did have the opportunity to see Eddie several times in person. In fact, one of the pictures you will see up here is from a show in Kansas City back in 2003 at Kemper Arena when he was the United States champion. Now, this was the same show that I mentioned in my video when I was talking about my memories of The Undertaker, and you'll see a picture of that one as well as, you know, what the main event was. I also saw The Undertaker in person on that same show, and I also saw the main event, which was, again, you'll see the pictures here somewhere, which was Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, and Big Show for the WWE Championship. So you had a very well stacked house show card, and again, one of the highlights for me was not just seeing a great triple threat main event and seeing the Dead Man as Big Evil, you know, doing his final tenure as the Big Evil American Badass character, but also being able to see Eddie Guerrero. And the reason, and if you're wondering where I was sitting in the second row. Basically, as I mentioned in my Undertaker video, I was sitting in the area around, close to the vicinity where the tragedy in 1999 with Owen Hart had occurred. I was in that vicinity just about. So I was able to, again, and again, it was kind of an eerie feeling for me, because I was like, when I was sitting there, I was realizing, oh, wait a minute, I'm in the same section where Owen Hart's tragedy happened. But, so yeah, it was an eerie feeling, but still, I was able to see all the wrestlers up close, and to be able to get this picture of Eddie, I was really happy. I was really happy about it. I also saw Rey Mysterio on there as well. So, and he was the Cruiserweight champ. So, you know, yeah, I got to, you know, I got to see Eddie, I think about a couple of times. You know, this one time in WWE at a SmackDown live event, and then I think at a SmackDown taping, which was the SmackDown before ECW One Night Stand 2005. And then before that, I think I saw him at several WCW events in Topeka, Kansas. So I got to see him about, if I was to make an estimated guess, about 4 times live in person competing for 2 different companies. And I appreciated that. I really appreciated that opportunity to see, you know, guys like him perform live. And I'm always going to cherish those moments. Now, unfortunately, when I found out about his passing, my dad had actually called me on the phone. He said, hey, did you know about Eddie Guerrero passing, the wrestler Eddie Guerrero passing away? And I was like, what? So I had to look online and find out that, yeah, he had passed away. And I remember recording, and I do have it. I don't know what, and I did record it. It's on one of my Monday Night Raw DVDs from 2005. I don't know if it's disc 17 or 18. I got to look at it. But I remember recording the tribute show that they did, as well as recording the SmackDown tribute show, which is on one of my SmackDown DVDs that I used to record a SmackDown show, the SmackDown show that was also a tribute to Eddie. So I remember recording those and everything, as well as I do remember that, you know, because he had passed, you know, one of the things they were selling was his merchandise, you know, to help financially his wife, Vicky Guerrero, and his family kind of get through this difficult time. And, of course, like I said, before he passed, I ended up getting this, which I still have. But also, I remember getting this, and I think I got this just a little before he passed. Yeah, this was around WrestleMania 22, as you can see right there. It's around WrestleMania 22. And as you can see, it's the Eddie Guerrero Latino Heat I'm Your Papi t-shirt. So I was able to get that from WWEshop.com. As well as I was able to get this, and this was one of the hardest items they had going. This is the memorial t-shirt right here of Eddie Guerrero. This is the memorial t-shirt, which has the 1967 to 2005 under there. And then on the back, it says Eddie Guerrero 1967 to 2005, Viva la Raza. And I bought this because, of course, it has his picture on it. It has the Viva Raza, the year he was born and when he passed. And it also had the EG on the back, which was basically representing the armband that a lot of people were wearing, not just fans, but wrestlers were wearing at that time. And I'll tell you something, a little side story here. I remember visiting California, I believe. I think it was about, what was it, around my birthday, I think. I remember visiting for my 20th birthday, and one of the places we went to was San Francisco. I think it was my birthday. Yeah, it was San Francisco. And I was wearing this, and somebody in San Francisco saw me wearing it, and they were like, "Hey, Latino he, Eddie Guerrero." I was like, "Yeah," So I got noticed, by wearing that at a mall, I think, in San Francisco when I was visiting and all that. So yeah, it was. So yeah, obviously a fellow fan noticing, obviously a fellow Eddie Guerrero fan noticing another one and kind of acknowledging that. I thought that was cool. Actually, and it was in the one of the malls of San Francisco. But yeah, again, I just remember enjoying watching Eddie compete. I mean, he had some fantastic matches with Benoit. I mean, anytime they promoted Benoit against Guerrero, especially in WWE, it's like, the hype meter for you as a fan went up. Despite maybe them wrestling a little bit more beforehand, it's like the hype meter would still go up because you knew they were going to have great matches. So it was just, so yeah, Eddie was just a great superstar, great sports entertainer. And like I said, I was very fortunate, as the picture, if it's still up here, will show you, that I was able to see him several times in person, competing in the ring for both WWE and WCW. And again, there will never be another one like Eddie Guerrero. There won't be. So I don't think I can say any more than that. I mean, I know some people speculate, what would it be like right now if he was still alive? What would the landscape be like? And honestly, I think Eddie, would probably exactly do what a lot of people speculated he would probably do. And that is around 2006, because, Alex, formerly Deluxe Man, was talking about this in his live stream tribute, where he was counting down the 10 best matches that Guerrero had throughout his career. And he pretty much speculated that if Eddie was still alive, that Eddie probably would have left WWE around 2006 and basically done what Kurt Angle did in that same time frame, and that's go to TNA/Impact Wrestling, and then probably go to Ring of Honor maybe after that, go to Japan, go back to Japan, and pretty much then come back to WWE to wrap up his career. Now, obviously, the question is, with All Elite Wrestling out there, would he have gone to All Elite Wrestling if he was still around? And I would think that since Vicky's gone there, I would believe, yeah, he probably would have gone there as well. Would he have been there as an agent? Absolutely. Would he be there as somewhat of a semi-performer at times? Absolutely. But again, these are all what-if scenarios had he not passed away and been taken away from us so soon. But I do believe that since we have Vicky in AEW, that I think around the time Vicky made her debut there, that Eddie probably would have followed suit. I would not put it past them. But yeah, again, these are just what-if scenarios. And and the dream matches that he could have had with opponents like, um, the WWE version of CM Punk and AJ Styles, the John Moxley when he's Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins. You know it's just basically all a what if kind of deal. And I do agree that it is kind of a what if scenario that I would have loved to see become a reality, but now that reality can only be achieved in video games, if you know what I mean. Um, but yeah, again, there will never be another one like Eddie Guerrero, and I can't really say any more than that I don't think anybody else has said, in tribute, in paying honor to him on this 15th anniversary. So with that in mind, I want to just close this out by saying, Eddie, thank you for the memories. You will never be forgotten. There will never be another like you. And Viva la Raza, my friend. May you rest well and watch down upon heaven and watch down from heaven as those like a Sasha Banks, a Ricochet, and many others pay tribute to you and try to continue on that legacy that you left behind. So, Godspeed. Thank you for all the memories, Eddie. You are still truly missed. And Viva la Raza, my friend. And that's all I can say, folks. So let me know what you all think. Let me know what your memories are of Eddie Guerrero. How many times did you maybe see him in person compete? And what else do you remember of Latino Heat? You know, whether it was his tenure in all the companies, what were your fondest memories there? And what do you think? What did you think about his lie, cheat, and steal mentality? You know, persona, Ona. What was your favorite memories overall? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. Thank you all for watching, and I'm out.